But here's where things get even worse for Alabama, and you really hate to see stuff like this going on, but it is what it is. One of Alabama's very prestigious recruits in one of the recent classes, Caleb Odum, he's a 5-star wide receiver slash tight end. He was reposting some stuff on Twitter that wasn't so good. Was he mad when he reposted this? Was he upset? Was he furious? Was he infuriated? I have no idea. Whew, man, oh man, a storm is brewing in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I wish I could act like I'm shocked about this, guys. I really could, but I'm not. You knew this was going to happen once Alabama started losing some games. However, with that being said, it doesn't take away from the fact that there are some bad things happening and a lot of interesting things at that. I'm not going to talk about the Tennessee game too much. I'm not going to talk about the Vanderbilt game. We know it's been a disastrous start for Alabama football outside of the Wisconsin game, which was the only complete game they played this year, and the Georgia game, especially in the second half. Well, wait a minute. I meant to say outside the first half of the Georgia game, but you get what I'm trying to say. Hasn't been a good year for Alabama. They're now the lowest they've been ranked since 2010. Guys, I know it seems like that wasn't too long ago, but that was nearly 15 years ago. 15 years. Man, oh man, time's flying by. I still remember those days with Greg McElroy and AJ McCarron. No lie, feels like it was a couple years ago, but yeah, long time ago. And as an Alabama fan myself, I can't even tell you I've been through a lot of ups and a lot of downs as a Bama fan, because for most of my experience, it's been nothing but great, nothing but winning. Outside of a heartbreaking loss here and there occasionally, I was always extremely proud of my team. As where it stands right now, I am not. But here's the sad part about it. Even when we lost games when Nick Saban was there, they kicked 6. When we lost to Johnny Manziel, Zach Calzada at A&M. What's some other notable ones? We lost to LSU 9-6. Many more games I could list off. I was still proud of the team even when we lost. Because more times than not, I feel like I say this over and over and over. When Alabama lost during the Saban era, it was a fluke. It was either some crazy plays happening or Alabama's field goal kickers missing kicks, and of course Alabama having some bonehead mistakes. By the way, don't even get me started on the field goal kickers during the Saban era outside of Will Reichard, because they were abysmal. It was so bad Nick Saban even stated himself, due to the field goal kicker not being good, he almost considered quitting after the Iron Bowl. I don't know if some of y'all have heard that story before, but that is a different conversation for a different day. Point is, even when we lost, like I was saying, still proud of the team. This year, I haven't even been proud of the team when we win. It's been nothing short of embarrassing and just straight up undisciplined football. And that is not how Alabama plays football, or at least that's not how they're supposed to play football. I say all that to say this. Once you start losing multiple games in which Alabama has, this is when they start to point fingers. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, so I guess you could say this is the part 2 to that video. Here's the problem with Alabama right now. Winning solves everything. Whoa. Hold on. I know what you're sitting there saying. Well, Matt, what are you talking about? Alabama's losing. You just stated winning solves everything. And you're right. You're 100% right, my friend. Thanks for catching that. When you're winning games, even if you're a wide receiver, tight end, running back, and you're not getting the ball as much as you like to, you overlook it. Let's say you're a wide receiver and you only had 1 catch, or let's say you don't even have a catch. You may not be as happy as could be, but as long as you get the win, that's all most competitors care about. You're like, hey, I did my part, I did my role. But when you start losing games, as Alabama has these past couple of weeks, yeah, you start to get upset. Because not only are you not getting the ball, but your team isn't winning either. It's the definition of a lose-lose situation. You're sitting here going, well, dang, if we're losing, I might could help out if you throw me the dang ball. Or not just throwing the dang ball if their coach design more plays for you, etc., etc. That's where Alabama is right now. Winning solves everything, right? Well, losing makes everything worse. Have you ever heard of an undefeated team that has internal problems in the locker room? Probably not, and if you have, it's been seldom. However, on the flip side, have you heard of a team that's 2-4 and has problems inside the locker room? Yes, you hear it all the time. It's not a coincidence. That's just how things are. Here's a message Kalen DeBoer had for the Alabama fan base after the loss, and he stated this recently. Don't lose belief in these guys, because there's a lot of guys making some big sacrifices in ways that you'll never know, because they just keep plugging away. They're working hard, and they have a lot of pride in who they are individually and who we are as Alabama. Ben responded, and this got 73 likes. Why does he always act like our team is a little engine that could? Like, we are supposed to have the most talent in the country. He acts like we are trying our best, and that should be good enough, LOL. Last time I checked in this life, if you are doing your best or you're trying your best, that is good enough, at least to me. Because if you're trying your best, theoretically speaking, that's the best you can do. So I really don't understand this whole argument there. As far as it goes for Kalen DeBoer's statement, I can attest to this, and this is something I've been needing to talk about for For those of you who don't know, one of Alabama's better wide receivers and fastest players on the team goes by the name of Kendrick Law. He wears number 1. Well, you want to know something about Kendrick Law? He is one of the guys that Kalen DeBoer is talking about making sacrifices because he is also Alabama's best blocker. And the reason you don't see Law catching long passes is because he's too busy blocking. He's one of those guys making sacrifices, and there's many others. And I hear people talk about Alabama as the most talented team, yada, yada, yada. It's not the same as when Nick Saban inherited the team in 2007 because that Alabama team sucked. Kalen DeBoer's walking into a gold mine. I get that. But I said this in one of the reaction videos Saturday. I'm going to continue to say it again. I don't care if these are the most quote-unquote talented players and Alabama has a top-rated team, yada, yada, yada. These aren't Kalen DeBoer's guys. He didn't handpick them. Sure, he brought over a couple players from Washington like the center, Brailsford, and Bernard. But outside of that, this is Nick Saban's old team. It goes back to why I do not criticize head coaches in year one because it's not their team at all, and you got to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm as disappointed as anybody else, but you can't look at this with a short lens. You got to look at the bigger picture. But take a look at this. Sources are saying that there are a number of players who are cancer cells to the team. Also said running backs are upset because Miro keeps pulling the ball on RPOs. That might make a little more sense as to why running backs aren't getting any carries whatsoever. I'm just a messenger. I didn't come out with this report, so if you choose to believe it, you can. If you don't, you also can do that. You're entitled to your own opinion. I'll give you this much. This isn't one of my sources, so I can't even vouch for him. I don't know who came out with it. Stephen M. Smith. Not too sure who that is. Maybe he is a reliable source. Maybe some of you know him. I don't. So like I said, do as you please with the information. For me, I have to take it with a grain of salt, but there's way more we got to cover. Here's what Milroe had to say about the offensive struggles against Tennessee. I got to take full ownership of that. When it comes to communication up front, communication to the guys around, I've got to do better on my end with playing with better detail. So it's all about building. It's all about rebuilding and also acknowledging where we're not the best at today. Continuing along, we got more bad news for Alabama. Shocker, right? Kalen DeBoer has confirmed that safety Keon Sabb has a lower extremity injury and is expected to be quote-unquote down for a while. For those of you that don't know, Keon Sabb, he was injured before the Tennessee game and he shouldn't even been playing. He was playing on a broken ankle. Or not a broken ankle, I think it was a broken foot. But either way, he shouldn't have been out there. You get the point. And that's what I've been trying to tell you. There are a percentage of guys out here that love Alabama football, and it is life or death for them. We need more guys like Keon Sabb. You saw him during the Tennessee game. He got banged up, and he still tried going back out there. He just couldn't give it a go. To Keon Sabb, if you're somehow someone who's seen this video, I greatly appreciate your effort, and it didn't go unnoticed. But the downside is, although he played hard, we're now even weaker than what we were in the secondary. Keon Sabb was arguably one of our better players back there, and now we're going to plug in a younger player, which we already have too much of. And that's the one position in college football you really can't be weak at, and that's the secondary. Alabama's secondary not too strong, and it goes back to this. They're just unexperienced. They're talented, but you can't coach experience. But here's where things get even worse for Alabama, and you really hate to see stuff like this going on, but it is what it is. Can't do nothing about it. One of Alabama's very prestigious recruits in one of the recent classes, Caleb Odum, he's a 5-star wide receiver / tight end. He was reposting some stuff on Twitter that wasn't so good. Was he mad when he reposted this? Was he upset? Was he furious? Was he infuriated? I have no idea. I'm sure it was a combination of all those things, but the bottom line is, he did it. And it goes without being said to Caleb Odum, you know this, I don't gotta sit here and say it. You shouldn't have done it. But let me show you what he did. So he reposted a bunch of tweets just talking about how Jalen Milroe's not throwing Caleb Odum the ball. Since he reposted them, he has unreposted them, but somebody took a screenshot of it. I mean, come on, man, it's Twitter. People are going to screenshot it. Especially when you got an Alabama player talking, or not talking bad, but reposting stuff where people are talking not so highly of his quarterback. One of these that somebody caught is from Squidward the GOAT. I think I've seen that guy before on Twitter. He's a big Bama fan. Shout out to him. Like, why not do the fade route with Caleb Odum? You know the wide receiver that's 6'5", 230 pounds? Another one he reposted, and as you can see, it's his name, and it says reposted. Jalen Milroe chose to throw a jump ball to Ryan instead of Caleb Odum on that one. Thought he would have chose a taller wideout. And there's a couple others he reposted, but I think you get the point. Do I view our 5-star wide receiver, Caleb Odum, reposting that stuff as a big deal? Not really. Like I said, it was one of those right after the game things. He was probably mad or upset, so he wound up doing it. And I know some people are going to argue this and say, well, Matt, it's not like he posted those things himself. And I don't really agree with that argument because this is the equivalent to a subtle diss. He knew if he wrote it, oh yeah, that'd catch a lot of flack, but let me just repost other people saying it. And it's not that like people were saying bad things about Jalen Milroe. He's just reposting stuff where people are saying, oh, well, they should start throwing the ball to Caleb Odum more. I'm not really going to hold this against him too much because as a wide receiver, you want the ball thrown your way. I mean, this is common knowledge. You're not going out there blocking, running all these routes, getting up at 6 a.m., doing all these hard workouts in the offseason so you could not get the ball. So I get it 10,000%, but I'm going to go back to this. Shouldn't be reposting things like that on Twitter. And just like this comment says right here, that program is completely cooked. And of course, you got people laughing at it saying the Bama culture is crumbling, and in their defense, they're not wrong. People have been waiting on this day for years, and I mean years and years and years. They've been preying on the Alabama downfall. And to some people, they think it's already happening, so they're relishing every second of it. Hopefully, this doesn't escalate to anything more, and this is the end-all be-all. But I tell you this much, if Alabama continues to lose games, it's only going to get worse. I'm very curious. Let me know your thoughts and all this down below. But